Well, good evening, everybody. It's the Cryptid Huntress. I'm Jessica Jones. Welcome in to a fantastic show tonight. We are going to be looking into the Kentucky meat shower of 1876. Now, it sounds completely wacky. It sounds wild, but guess what? It happened. And, uh, and this was given to me as a coordinate remote viewing target a little while back. And I just feel like this is a wonderful time to talk about this target tonight. It doesn't make a lot of sense as to how meat rained down all over Kentucky back in the 1800s. But according to my data, we're going to get into all of this tonight. I believe it has something to do with some other things that we've talked about, or things that we haven't talked about yet, actually, with some of the technology that was being used back then, maybe even some, let's just say airships or something. I don't know. We're going to find out tonight. The data is very interesting, to say the least. And of course, I have my good friends, Gerald and Jane Fountain, here in the studio tonight with Midwest Night Watchers. So you guys be sure to go subscribe over to Midwest Night Watchers here on YouTube. And shout out to everybody watching on Facebook as well tonight. Y'all are the best. And thank you so much for all your support for being here tonight. If you guys would like to, excuse me, follow along with all of my shows, please go over to thecryptidhuntress.com and you can find all of my shows there. I forgot to update it today, but I'll do that tomorrow or tonight after the show. With this show tonight, maybe I did it last night. I can't remember. Okay, so it should be updated. But go there to find out, catch up on my shows or to see what events I'm going to be at, including, you guys, the World UFO Conference. That's coming up in 1 month. I'll be up in North Georgia at Demarest. I'm one of their keynote speakers at the World UFO Conference. So please come up and see me. I think it's at Highlands College, I think is the name of that location. So I hope I got that right. So y'all come see me over there. And also, I will be at the Molina Bigfoot Festival, y'all. So that was a really fun event the past couple of years. If you'd like to get out and come see me there, that is on, let's see, November the 9th. That's the next Saturday after the World UFO Conference. I'll be at Molina, Georgia. You see Flat Rocks on there. Tyler Howell has been on the show. Dr. John Stamey has been on the show. And Matthew Delph has been on the show. They're all going to be there with me with some other great speakers. That's the best small town Bigfoot festival in the South, y'all. Okay. So you heard it from me. Y'all come see us down there. And then also on January the 18th, I will be at the East Alabama Town Hall, Bigfoot Town Hall, that is. And that's with Flat Rock and Tyler Howell and MK Davis and Stacy Brown. All right, so y'all come see me at that too. Okay, and let's get to our show tonight. Oh, if we'd like to support the show, I do have a Patreon. That's the patreon.com/the Cryptid Huntress. All of my data is posted in there for this target tonight, for the remote viewing target. If you become a VIP member of my Patreon, I do send out a gift every month. I am still missing like a couple of addresses for those VIP members. So please send those to me. And thank you so much for all your support. This month, I'm sending out some stickers, including this one right here. It's the Bigfoot Karen. Okay, so I like to send out something kind of cool every month. And I do have stickers this month. So please join and get your stickers. I also have War Woman Goods. That is my Etsy shop. And there's some pieces on my website if you go to the shop section there. And you can also become a member of my channel. That's the Cryptid Huntress on YouTube. And my channel members get special perks and exclusive content. All right. Well, that's enough for the business. Man, I tell you what, that's a lot of business, isn't it? Okay, let's get to the show tonight because this is the ultimate rabbit hole today. I thought yesterday's show was like the ultimate rabbit hole with what we talked about with the recycled celebrities. We went down the P. Diddy rabbit hole last night or yesterday. I did not know how that show was going to go over, but it went over great. And so you guys, please check that out if you haven't already. I had Brian Singh here with the Full Disclosure Now movement. I'll be at his conference next July down in Florida as well. So y'all come join us down there. Book your tickets now. But that was a really extra fun show yesterday. So tonight we have a super big rabbit hole to go down, and it's the Kentucky meat shower of 1876. Now, before I get into this, I do want to send my thoughts and my prayers out to everyone who is still being affected by the hurricane that hit last Friday, almost a week ago now. Our good friend Dennis Carroll, I believe he still is out of power. And I'm not sure. I think Robbie might still be as well. Robbie Raines over in South Carolina. They're both in South Carolina. So please lift them up, you guys, and send them positive thoughts and good energy, please. And with all the families that have been affected, all the devastation out there, it's going to take a while to recover from all of that. And so any way we can, we're here to help. I'm here to help. And whatever I can do, I know there's sites. I've posted a couple things on my Facebook page, but I know they could really use some help right now. So y'all keep everybody in your thoughts and in your prayers. Okay. All right. Let's get into this Kentucky meat shower business tonight. The Kentucky meat shower is a perplexing event that occurred for several minutes between 11 a.m. and 12 p.m. on March the 3rd of 1876. Chunks of meat fell from the sky on a farm that's about 100 yards by 50 yards. That's the size of the area that it fell on, near Olympia Springs in Bath County, Kentucky. There were several possible explanations to how it occurred and what the meat was. And when I say meat, that's in air quotes, okay? Because it looked like meat, smelled like meat, and it kind of tasted like meat. Because, yes, there were some guinea pigs who did pick it up and did taste it. And all the animals came out and ate it as well. But the exact type of meat was never identified. Okay. Reports suggested that it was beef, lamb, deer, bear, horse, or possibly human. The exact cause of the Kentucky meat shower remains a subject of speculation and of mystery. I was tasked with this as a blind coordinate remote viewing target. I was given a set of coordinates numbers. And so this is one of my targets. When did I do this? A month or two ago, I guess. All of the data is in my Patreon. If you guys would like to see what all's in the data, and I'm going to go over a good majority of this data tonight. And to help me do that, I do have Gerald and Jane Fountain with Midwest Night Watchers and Chiro Sounds are here, and they are my resident experts on things in the sky. Okay, you guys, please go over to their YouTube channels. They have two channels. There's the Midwest Night Watchers channel, and then Jane plays beautiful music on Chiro Sound. So y'all please go over there. And oh, my computer just glitched, but I'm still here. Go over there and give them a subscribe, and I will. Okay, I don't know. Are y'all seeing the glitch too? This is weird. Okay, please help me welcome to the show, Gerald and Jane Fountain. Okay. Hey.
Hi.
Can y'all hear me?
We can hear you. We just can't see you.
I've never seen a glitch like this before.
What just happened?
Interesting.
This is very odd. Okay, I'm going to probably have to switch over to another device. Actually, I could probably just switch over to my computer.
All right.
Wow. Huh? Hi, everyone.
Yeah. Thanks for coming, everybody.
Hey, I'll be right back. Okay, I'll be
right.
No problem. No problem. Wow, that was an interesting glitch.
I see a lot of our friends that we normally see in chat in there.
Yes.
Welcome, everybody. Thanks for coming tonight.
Wow.
This is a weird subject. I mean, just like Jessica was talking about.
Okay, that was weird, y'all. I don't know what just happened. Yeah, that was called a glitch in the Matrix.
Yeah, it was.
It looked glitchy. Yeah.
It was. Okay, that was odd. That I've never had that happen before. But I luckily I have another camera right here. Okay, so I have a plan B and a plan C and a plan D because this kind of stuff happens to me pretty often. Okay, so
wow.
Yeah. Well, you guys are my resident experts on things in the sky. Yeah, you have a wonderful YouTube channel called Midwest Night Watchers, and you have cameras all around your house
Yep.
with your farm animals. You also have them looking to the sky. And I can super appreciate that. And so I figured, hey, who better to bring on the show tonight to talk about weird things falling out of the sky than my good friends, Gerald and Jane? What do
Oh,
y'all
thank you.
Yeah, tell
And we've actually had stuff fall out of the sky into our property, our yard. We've had weird stuff from the gelatinous gel to the spider webs that float around and cover all your bushes and stuff, that weird looking stuff.
Well, what I saw today wasn't really, it looked spider webby, but it wasn't strings. It was like this glob of like a spider web floating. And we've seen that before and we don't ever touch it. And I saw two of them and I looked at Gerald and I said, oh no, not yet. And it's not normal spider webs.
Whoa. Okay, well, that's really odd. That's really odd. Right now, we do have a lot of interesting things that are coming out of the skies. I just I saw a video on social media yesterday of a woman who was showing blue globules of something. Ooh. And it turns out, I do believe that that's some kind of, I don't want to say, dare I say, like chemical engineering or bioengineered something to make the environment temperature change or something. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of strange things happening right now, especially with this devastating hurricane that we've had down here in the South. Our good friend Dennis Carroll is still being affected by that too, out there in South Carolina. And so a really wild time to be alive at this moment right now.
It is.
Yeah. A little scary too at the same time. But we don't live in fear, right? We don't live in
That's
fear.
right.
Yeah, just awareness. So, okay. Well, this target that I was given is really weird, y'all. Okay. Have y'all heard of the Kentucky meat shower before? Or is this new?
Nope, I've heard of it.
What are your thoughts on this?
Well, it's so strange, that back in 1876, you would think that not much would be going on. You just think it's simple time. And then all of a sudden you hear of the meat shower, she's out there making soap on the porch, the mother. And then all of a sudden this meat starts raining down. They said it was she described it as large snowflakes and it just like started covering the ground. Like you said, it was 100 yards. I mean, can you imagine 100 by 50 yards?
Wow.
Oh my gosh. That's a football field.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the size of a football field, and that's a lot. And so, and the thoughts going through that poor woman's head were pretty devastating, actually. At first, I think it was confusion, and then it went on to, oh my gosh, what if this is like my son or my husband or whoever? Some actual reports. Some of the reports that I was reading about this, doing the research on this today and yesterday, I did see some of them said that her husband was with her when it happened. Other reports said that he was not there and that he was actually off with her son. And so the reports kind of vary on this a little bit. Right. But at one point, I do believe that she thought in her mind, she said, oh my God, what if they have been in a horrible accident? And those are pieces of their body falling on her.
Wow.
Yep.
I mean,
yeah, that's what I had heard. I had heard that the father and son was off doing work out on the property somewhere, and the grandchild, I believe, and the mother was there at the cabin. That's kind of sketchy too. I don't know for sure 100%. But when the father finally got back, and the mother, I guess they were pretty religious. They thought maybe it was an omen or something, a sign from God, that something was going to happen. But originally she did think maybe the son and the father had gotten a bad accident and pieces of them were being thrown all over their property.
Wow. I mean, it sounds like that would be like a wood chipper incident or something. That sounds horrible to say, but I'm just saying. That's the only thing I could think of when I thought of that, and it's just it's very odd. Okay, and let's see. I may have a few pictures here. Of course, this is the AI picture that I made this too. Like I kind of put AI and myself, some things I put together. Because this is kind of what she experienced. She was just standing there by herself making some soap. Here's another artist rendition of what happened. She was making some soap, and all of a sudden all these like oily globules of meat started falling from the sky. That's just it's just weird. It's just
Yeah,
so weird.
It is.
Because we don't hear about a lot of really gross things coming out of the sky too often. And back in the 1800s, you got to wonder like what all was. First of all, where my mind goes is what all was flying around in the sky at that time. Were there airplanes? Were there airships? Like, was there anything up there like hot air balloons to where someone could have dropped something on top of her head or something? You know what I mean?
But that'd be a lot. I mean, to cover 100 yards by 50 yards, that'd be a lot of meat to have in an air balloon basket, you know?
Oh,
I don't
totally.
know.
Well, that's right. That's right. It's way too much. And why would anybody? It'd almost be like somebody would go and just dump it and dump it and dump it, and it would fill up a whole basket of a hot air balloon,
And
probably.
it's not like it'd be an airplane, you know, it'd be dumping waste or anything off of their planes or lose a cargo because there wasn't no planes in 1876 that we know of, unless
that's
it's a
what I was,
time travel or another dimension where they come in.
that's what I was going to say. We didn't have airplanes back then.
Okay. Well, some people think that it could have been a UFO that dropped off maybe human body parts
Ew.
out there. That's one of the theories.
Wow.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, you never know. I mean, you know, you talk about abductions and experiments, you know, and maybe that was the remainder of some experiments that they had.
It could be. Most definitely. Okay, here's another picture of, an artist rendition of kind of what happened there. It's most often described as looking like beef. Okay, like red meat. They say red meat. And there was a sample saved. And this is what the sample looks like. To me, it looks like bacon. This is the bottle that has the sample in it. Of course, there were people that came from all over the place. I mean, this was the news back then. Okay,
Right.
this was
Right.
everybody came from far and wide. All the whole community came out to find out what happened. The animals, all the animals on the property went out and were eating the meat.
Yeah.
I don't think any of them perished or passed away from eating it. They were eating it like it was fresh meat.
Yeah, the chickens and the hogs and the livestock were eating it. And then they said, one report that I read said that their dog ate it and got a little sick or ill. I don't think it passed away, but it was doing pretty bad. Whether it was because of the meat was bad or wasn't supposed to really necessarily eat it, but
Oh my gosh. My dog gets sick if I ever change her food up. She's a German Shepherd. Her stomach is so sensitive. And so I have to be careful what I feed her. If she were to have eaten any of that meat, she would have gotten sick too. For sure.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I used to feed her that raw meat diet when she was little, but I had to quit doing that. It got messy. It got real messy. However, it wasn't just animals that were eating this meat.
right.
They had some men in the community that came out and were kind of guinea pigs, just tasting it. And I don't think that any of them got sick, but they did not. Some of them said it was like nothing they'd ever tasted before. Some of the hunters, and I'm going to get more into detail into this in just a minute, but some of the hunters that were out there that did that trapped bears, and so they thought it was maybe bear meat. The consensus at one time was that it was horse.
Right.
Some of the scientists that tested the meat said they thought that it was either the lung of a goat or a baby human.
Yep.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, they found muscle fragments and cartilage also.
Yeah. It's pretty weird and a little scary to think about. Okay, what was the weather like that day? Was it raining? Was it cloudy?
Oh yeah.
Was there anything odd that had like flown across the sky? What happened? Do we live in a simulation? Okay, like somebody just hit the wrong button that day. Okay, I don't know.
Yeah, because when we have the reports of falling fish, raining fish or frogs or whatever, there's usually a body of water that's close by where maybe, a spout came up and grabbed, a school of fish and had dumped them off somewhere else. Well, where they live, there is no body of water except maybe lakes or a little lake or a pond or something, but nothing to create that. Then why would it be beef instead of fish?
And that's a lot of meat too.
It is a lot of meat.
Mhm.
And usually when there is a fish, it rains fish, it's usually like a water spout, right? A
Right,
water spout
yeah.
or a tornado,
Yep.
hurricanes, any kind of
Hurricanes.
there's got to be a source to it. A source. This seemed to have no source. It just fell from the sky. And okay, so let me get into some of the details of this. Okay, so on the morning of Friday, March the 3rd, 1876, it was a sunny and cloudless day, in northeastern Kentucky. There was a little bit of a breeze, and the Crouch family, Crouch, Crouch, the Crouch family farm, Miss Crouch was making some soap in her front yard. And that's kind of like the picture that I showed you guys of the drawing. A little bit before noon, something started falling from the sky. Her grandson is quoted as saying, "Grandma, it's snowing."
Mm.
But for the next few minutes, it wasn't snow that fell from the sky, even though some of the chunks and some of the pieces were like snowflakes. Like they were light, like a snowflake kind of, but they were gristly, oozing chunks of flesh. Okay, and some of them were actually as long as the woman's hands. Okay, like they were big, like big chunks. I heard that on average they're around 3 inches. Okay, so that's actually kind of smaller, but around 3 inches or 5 inches of meat. I got to think like that would actually kind of hurt if it hit you.
Right.
Coming from the sky. But for several minutes, these things fell. When it finally quit, the sky was still clear and sunny. It's like the sky kind of it got dark for a minute because it said that the sky clear. It was clear and sunny again after the meat quit falling. But when she was interviewed by reporters, newspapers came out, magazines came out, newspapers, magazines, the media came out. She said, for one just horrible moment, she considered the possibility that her husband and son, who were away, had been torn to pieces and their remains were being brought home by the wind. Oof, that's a terrible feeling.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got to be, just imagine the insanity of that, of just meat falling from the sky. So the Crouch family was thinking, okay, this is either a miracle or it's a bad omen. Okay. And of course it kind of spread throughout the community. Everybody came onto the property. I do believe that this meat was like on their fence. It was on their house. It was all over the place. It was on their farmhouse and it was scattered all over the ground. The overall consensus of the people who showed up in the family, they said that they thought it was beef. It was similar in color. It had a similar smell to beef. But a local hunter disagreed. He said that the uncommonly greasy feel of the meat resembled that of a bear. Okay, so it looked like beef, but it was super greasy. So a few of the men decided they were going to eat it, and they were going to try to figure out what it was. And so they tasted a few of the pieces. The decision was that by the taste, it had to be either venison or mutton. Okay, so that's deer meat, or what is mutton? Is that sheep?
Lamb, I think.
Goat?
Yeah.
Lamb? Okay,
I don't know.
lamb. I don't know. I've probably eaten it before. I just didn't know what it was called. Okay, so a butcher stepped in. The local butcher stepped in and said, "Well, if anybody can tell what this meat is, I can. So I'll taste it." And so he said, none of it tasted like anything he had ever had. It tasted neither like flesh, fish, or fowl, he said.
Oh.
Now, that's pretty risky if they were thinking it could be a chicken or something, because you can't eat raw chicken meat.
Right. That's what I was wondering. Are they taking the time to cook it, or are they just eating it raw? And I know what this tastes like raw.
I think they must have. I'm assuming they ate it raw, but I don't know. It doesn't say that they cooked it.
Well, chicken meat's not red.
That's right. That's right. Ooh. Okay. To me, it just sounds gross. It makes me want to gag.
I hope nobody had dinner before the show.
I know, right? Okay. So they ended up sending the meat to scientists and chemists. One chemist from Louisville College said that the sample was indeed mutton, like what that hunter had said. But another scientist or professor disagreed, saying that while it was definitely meat, it was not mutton. Okay, so there were like a lot of arguing going on.
Wow.
Eventually, they gave up on like what it was. They just all agreed that it was some kind of meat. Then the conversation went to like, well, where did this come from? If it was in fact meat, how did it get there? Where did it come from? This is not normal. We don't usually have meat just falling from the sky. One of the scientists decided that meat was the result of a meteor shower. Now, I don't even know if this is a joke. This is so weird. I don't know if this is a joke because it doesn't really make sense, but I'm going to go ahead and read this anyways, okay?
All right.
According to the present theory of astronomers, an enormous belt of meteoric stones constantly revolves around the sun. And when the Earth comes into contact with this belt, she is soundly pelted, wrote William Livingston Alden, a New York Times writer. Similarly, we may suppose that there revolves about the sun a belt of venison, mutton, and other meats, divided into small fragments, which are precipitated. Sorry, I can't talk tonight. Precipitated upon the Earth whenever the latter crosses their path. Is this for real? Do y'all think that this guy was joking or what?
I think they were probably grasping at anything to explain it other than UFOs or something paranormal or weird going on. I mean, I can't imagine an asteroid or anything flying by and having a cow or a deer or a bear on it. So, I mean, how would that get to us? I mean, there's not a venison belt out there like our asteroid belt that's just circling around. That I've never heard anybody ever say that except for this guy.
That's what this guy said. But yeah, I guess that they were trying to get inventive with it. I guess the sky's the limit. Let's just say, okay, the sky was the limit with this. So he also said that maybe the meat was actually the flesh of finely hashed citizens of Kentucky who had been caught in a whirlwind while engaging in a little difficulty with Bowie knives and strewn over their astonished state. So another theory that this guy was putting out was like maybe they got caught up. It was humans that got caught in a tornado or some kind of natural disaster, and it was their body parts. Okay, now that had to have felt weird for those people who have eaten that meat. You know what I mean?
Well, they would have had to known in their areas. I mean, if people came from all over to go to this farm to check it out, they would have had to known that there was a tornado or a natural disaster somewhere that swept up a bunch of people and dumped it on that property. Yeah.
For sure. It's the ultimate mystery meat here. Okay. We all hear about mystery meat. I grew up eating mystery meat. You know, I had what I used to call Vienna sausages, but I know they're Vienna. Okay. But when I'm a country kid, and I got made fun of for that when I was in college, by the way. I thought they were Viennas. And people in college were like, it's Vienna. And I was like, well, I don't know. So anyways, that's kind of mystery meat. Right. There's a lot of mystery meat. Yeah. And Barry says they also said it was buzzards vomiting. Okay. And that's where we're going. That's one of the next ones. Okay.
Well, if that's the case, it'd be happening more often than this time.
I know, right? I see a lot of buzzards. We have, vultures, buzzards. They don't let anything go to waste. And
we have turkey buzzards here.
Yeah.
Oh, we do too. That's the majority of the kind of buzzards we have down here in Georgia, or turkey vultures. And as soon as something dies, they go and they clean it up.
Yep.
They're nature's cleanup crew, for sure. But I've never seen a buzzard vomit, like a big pack of them. That'd be a big old pack of buzzards vomiting if that was the case.
Well,
Maybe
they do
something common.
gorge themselves, so they finish up every bit that they can get because they don't know where their next meal's coming from. I mean, just like today, you see them circling, looking for something dead or whatever. So, I mean, it is possible, I guess. So, some buzzards could have went and picked a cow apart or a dead carcass of a bear, and they say buzzards will vomit or projectile vomit to scare off a predator if it comes up and tries to get it. That's one of their defenses, and then they're lighter to fly away or to get away.
Yeah. Oh wow.
I've never seen it in person though.
I know.
Oh, while we're talking about it, I'll just go ahead and pull these pictures up. These are some cool looking buzzards. Those things are huge, by the way. These are vultures. These are a little different than what we have down here, like what we're talking about with the turkey buzzards.
Yeah.
Or turkey vultures. They're a little bit different, but they're kind of the same too.
Right.
Yeah, the turkey vultures look kind of like turkeys until you get right up on them, and then you're like, ooh, scary. Okay, they're a little scary. But they're much needed for nature's cleanup. They are. So you can't get mad at turkey vultures. They don't, and I don't think they get sick. Like, they can eat anything.
Right.
And
yeah, they got a cast iron stomach for sure.
yeah.
But I read somewhere where I don't think they can vomit. I don't think while they're flying. So that doesn't make sense for this either.
But if the report said that it finally got clear again and sunny, just a few turkey vultures is not going to darken the skies.
No.
No, but 100 yards of meat falling down would put a pretty big shadow out, I would think.
For more than a minute, it was a few minutes. So that just is not possible. Right. There's no way. But actually, both of the Crouches, the family did think that was probably what it was. It was probably vultures. That was like their best thing they could come up with. Now, there was another scientist who wrote an article in the Sanitarian, is what it was called, where he claimed the event was simply a shower of nostoc, a cyanobacteria, which takes on a jelly-like appearance when it comes into contact with the rain. His theory was that it simply bloomed on the ground and that whatever fell from the sky was simply a normal rain shower. Okay, but this is what that looks like. And I got to say, I don't think that looks like meat.
There'd be a different texture than meat.
Yeah, you'd be able to tell the difference between that and meat. And plus, I don't think anybody would pick that up thinking it was meat and try to eat it. No.
Well, it doesn't look like this. What's in that bottle right there? That looks like a piece of bacon or a piece of pork. And and I hate to say this, but I'm going to say it. We've talked about cannibalism before and people eating people. And they say that human meat is a lot like pork. Okay. And so I would assume that human meat would probably look a lot like that. Okay. Like, muscular tissue and fat and all that. And I know it's kind of gross, but I mean, we got to kind of talk about it. Okay. Because we're trying to figure out what this meat is. Right. Yeah. It's gross.
Yeah. It's just astounding. I mean, I don't know. I mean, the buzzards kind of fit into the narrative. A tornado, maybe, but like I said, you would think people would have seen a tornado or somewhere come across. And if a tornado came in, where's the path on their farm of the tornado? They don't talk about it at all.
And where are the bones if it was just flesh and meat?
Oh, good point, Jane. Oh man,
not like a tornado would rip them into shreds in the tiny itty bitty little pieces either. You'd have chunks and an arm and a leg, and so I don't think it's
not just the meat. Where'd the skin go?
Right,
yeah, it's just meat. Okay, so let's see. So let's see what I got here. So the Kentucky meat shower, they came up with a conclusion that the Kentucky meat shower was a result of a flock of vultures vomiting simultaneously after feasting themselves more abundantly than wisely. That was what they said. It said, I am informed that it is not uncommon for buzzards thus to disgorge their overcharged stomachs, one chemist wrote, and when in a flock, one commences the relief operation, the others are excited to nausea, and a general shower of half-digested meat takes place. So when one of them throws up, they all throw up.
I think we'd have reports currently if that was the case.
I think so too. That's a great point. So the townspeople decided that was the most likely scenario, and decided to believe that explanation for the Kentucky meat shower. It was a bunch of vultures that threw a one set off the domino effect. They all started vomiting. And you got to think those men that had eaten that meat probably got really grossed out. But I guess it's better than human meat. Okay. I guess. But nonetheless, I mean, even the New York Times wrote an article on it, and it's the title of their article was "Flesh Descending in a Shower." That's disgusting. The New York Herald actually wrote about it and sent a correspondent out to go look into it as well. They said that Mrs. Crouch had bolted, not bottled. She had bolted inside as soon as the shower began, but she guessed that at least half a bushel or 4 gallons of meaty bits had fallen. When Mr. Crouch returned home later that day, he surveyed the carnage, which affected roughly an acre of land. The fences were flecked with tissue and stained with what looked like blood. Thorny briars bore gobs of flesh like Christmas trees from hell.
Oh, wow.
That's funny. That's a good writer right there. The gory horror of the scene was completely lost on the couches. Hogs, chickens, cat, and dog, for they had all been eating the meat freely and seemed to like it well, according to Mrs. Crouch. The dog did suspiciously fall ill sometime later that month. But it took a month, so it probably wasn't the meat.
Right.
I wouldn't think. Mr. Crouch collected a number of samples and handed some off to Olympia Springs proprietor Harrison Gill. He preserved them in alcohol. Other chunks ended up in the mouths of dauntless locals like 27-year-old butcher L.C. Fritz Frisbee in the nearby city of Mount Sterling. Several persons told me it was a dangerous experiment, but I told them my constitution could stand as much of it as a rooster or cats, Frisbee told the Herald reporter. Their conversation... Oh, never mind. Okay, so I guess he was... maybe he was the butcher, I think. He said, but even the still stomach Fritz had decided to spit out the meat after chewing a little because it tasted kind of milky, watery, fluid oozed out of it.
Ew.
Though he likened its appearance to mutton and its texture to veal or lamb, he couldn't place the taste or the odor. That was the butcher. A merchant named Joe Jordan also spat out his specimen, which smelled like a dead body and leached brown mucus. Sorry, y'all. I know that's gross. He compared the meat to mutton, while another man said it looked like pounded beefsteak. And then a trapper named Benjamin Franklin Ellington swore it was bear meat. The correspondent tried to bribe a Irish railroad worker to sample a bite, but he couldn't get him to do it. But yeah, they did send it out to multiple scientists. Nobody ever determined what that meat was. No one ever did. And so some people said the meat might have fallen from a lunch basket of a passing balloonist. So that would be somebody in a hot air balloon.
Mm-hmm.
But like we said earlier, there's no way that amount of meat could have come out of a hot air balloon.
Yeah, not carrying passengers and having to have weight to take you down or, so I don't think you'd have that big a cargo. And why would it be dumped over?
And there's no kind of meat that is that moist and oozy.
Yes. It sounds disgusting. It really does. Yeah, I would never have eaten that. Okay, well, all right. Let's just get into the data tonight because I did remote view this. It's just a whole lot of the same of the reports of the people trying it, and it's really nasty. And they were fighting over what it was. The question is, where did it come from?
Right.
Okay, that's my biggest question. And I don't know, this data that I have, it may leave more questions than answers. Okay, but the data is very interesting when it comes to this. Now, the target is the meat shower event in Bath County, Kentucky on March 3rd, 1876. It was the actual location, the date, and the time. That was the target. Okay, so that's the target. This is going to get weird, but I think this is going to take us into some more interesting topics tonight. Okay, so with some of my sensory data. Let's call it, okay, this is the sensory data. I wrote down beating, moving, trance, charged, blocked, confusion, encounter, lines, and straight. Okay, that was my sensory data. Well, through that sensory data, I got all this analytic overlay. Okay, so I'm writing down this data. I write my ideograms down. I draw them out, my automatic writing. I get from all that sensory data, I write down me trying to make sense of what I'm seeing. And so I wrote down first, okay, so the first thing I wrote down was syndrome, okay, and then I wrote dome, and then I wrote home. Syndrome, dome, home. Now that could be a case of peacocking, where that's what I call peacocking, where you write one thing down and things that rhyme start coming out too, okay. I wrote down financed. I was writing down, I was getting like trance data, like a trance state kind of thing, fever. And then I heard above the clouds. Okay, I heard above the clouds. And then the next thing I wrote down was Zeppelin.
Zeppelin.
Okay.
As in Led Zeppelin?
Kind of like Led Zeppelin. I think it's an airship. Okay. Mm-hmm. But I wrote down above the clouds, and I wrote down Zeppelin. I wrote down dished out. I actually wrote down close encounter too. That's another thing that I wrote down. Close encounter. That would allude to a possible UFO, maybe. Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's see what else I wrote down. I'm not going to go through all the data. I'll go through some of it. I wrote fresh to death, straight out. I was hearing like essential, close by, whereabouts, something I wrote down, but I wrote down thunder and cloud. That was in the data. And something else I wrote was port, P-O-R-T. Okay. And then the picture that I drew looks awful like what I was seeing, looked like the blimp, like the Goodyear blimp, or like an airship or something. Because I wrote down Zeppelin. Like I was seeing like the Hindenburg, I think, is what I was seeing when I was remote viewing this. Because the drawing that I made, it's either like, it's just a round circle with like two lines coming out from underneath it. I mean, it could be like a hot air balloon too. I don't know. It could be anything, because it looks very much either like, and I'm kind of reaching right here because I'm trying to analyze the data. Okay. But it's just a circle with lines. So, I mean, it 100% could be like an airship. It could be a UFO. It could be a hot air balloon. It could be something like that. Okay. But that was my first page of data right there through stage 3. Then I was picking up on something that was very dirty, something that was happening live and direct. And then I started hearing a song. Okay. And this was by Biggie Smalls. All right. It was a rap song. And that's kind of how I channel my data sometimes is through songs. And I heard this song and I had not heard it in so long. And it was like, what's beef? Beef is when your moms ain't safe up in the streets or something, or your kid ain't safe up in the street. Beef is when your mom's scared to go to sleep or something. But it just kept saying beef and beef over and over again.
Wow.
So I actually wrote that down. I said, what's beef? And I wrote down Biggie underneath it. And then I wrote beef. And then I wrote the quote, beef is when your mom's too scared to go to sleep. I wrote down. So the word beef is in here. I know remote viewing is a very interesting mode of getting information. But I wrote down that. So I wrote beef. But even though it's a different type of beef, I still wrote down beef. Okay. But then I was picking up on wind blowing. Okay. Like some wind blowing data, something that was solid wind blowing, blowing in different directions. I wrote down directions and directed, smooth sailing, gliding. And then my sensory data was slimy and wet.
Oh,
okay.
Wow.
So that kind of matches up with the meat data, or the meat that was there actually. I then picked up on somebody in overalls, clothes. I picked up on a farm, pastures, something out in the country, and like tall grass, mountains and hills. I heard forced out, change. I was hearing banging. I was seeing animals, like farm animals. And I was seeing like a wide open space, like a big pasture, or just something with tall grass is what I was seeing, with like mountains around it. And then I wrote down, government cover up. Cover up. Again, I literally wrote down government, but I put a question mark beside it. So I wrote down cover up and then government with a question mark. And I was very clearly picking up on a farm. Okay, a farm. All right, well, that's kind of the gist of all the data that I got for this target. Okay. There's some more there, but this is the important stuff that would pertain to what this target is. Okay, so what I can conclude from that data is that I think that there was something up in the sky that was probably man-made, dare I say, that probably dropped some meat down or something. I don't think it was a natural event. Whatever happened. I did write down the word beef. Now that doesn't mean this was beef that fell from the sky, but
Right.
I'm hearing that song for a reason. Okay, and so I don't know. What do y'all think? Did y'all have any
I think
thoughts
your
on
data
that?
is right on it because
Yeah.
I mean you talked about basically clear skies and something smooth sailing. So maybe an airship would, you'd think you'd want a nice day to be on an airship and not being blown all over in storms and tornadoes or whatever. So that all makes sense. And like you came up with beef, and everybody there, the witnesses, kind of thought it was beef. They kind of said, well, maybe lamb, venison, or whatever. But majority of the report said beef is what they characterized it as. So I think you're right on.
Right. Well, back then, what did they have up in the air? They did have hot air balloons. They did have no blimps, but they did not have airplanes. If it was a cover up and they wanted to throw this out, why would they throw it over a farm? Why wouldn't they wait until they see a forest?
That's right. It's just really weird. And
Right,
so
yeah.
my thing was I wanted to go back, and today I started doing a little bit of research on airships. Okay, and I think this is something that my good friend Arkeem Ra has been saying he wants to do a show with me on that sometime. So I may end up doing a show on airships next week. Okay, because there's
Cool.
a hidden element. I think there's something about airships that they're not completely disclosing to the general public. I think, and I think airships have been around for a long time because I did a little research, and I found the first article I found said that airships weren't really introduced to the public until like the early 1900s.
Right.
Okay. Like 1910, 1908. Okay. At the World's Fairs. Okay. We're going to circle back around, and we're going to talk about World's Fairs tonight a little bit. Okay. Because in 1901, 1898, 1903, there were World's Fairs going on all over the United States, where these magnificent buildings, they say they were built. I think they had been here all along, personally.
Right.
I do too.
But they were showcasing airships, and I was trying to pull up some of the pictures of that, and my computer was not recognizing these files, so it would not pull these pictures up. However, I do have here's a picture right here from 1883. Okay, now this happened in 1876. All right, well, if they've got little things like this that they're showing us, okay, from the next decade. This right here is from the Victorian era in New England. Okay, I don't know exactly the years that the Victorian era covers, but that was Victorian era airship in New England, here in the United States.
Wow.
Okay, so let's just say maybe they had this technology. They had these blimps, these airships. I mean, here's one right here. I think this might be the Hindenburg. This is some kind of bomber ship that was dropping bombs in London or somewhere.
Well, they had airships or blimps, if you want to call it, just like the Zeppelins of the Goodyear. But I mean, it had different. At this time, they had gas in them that was different than what we use now because of the explosion of the Hindenburg. But they did have them, and this is when they were motorized. They'd put motors on them, kind of like a propeller system, to propel them. But they did have the blimps, if you want to call them that. They're almost like we're used to hot air balloons, but they were shaped that cigar shape. That's why they're called blimps. So they had them back in the 1800s.
They did. Well, it's just interesting that did. Now, I'm not saying that my data is going to be the end all be all. Okay. But it's interesting that came up. Okay. It's very interesting that came up, and that's what I was seeing. And I'll show the audience the drawing that I did. This was my sketch right there. It just is a circle with lines under it. I mean, it could be nothing, but that's what I was seeing, was something circular. Okay. And with something coming off the bottom of it. Now, I did find this interesting picture right here. These are some of the early airships, okay, across the world. This is in the United States. I mean, I was finding some things from like the 1700s too. Okay. So, you know that history is not what we're taught in our books.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying. Okay. And what if there could have been some kind of airship? Now, I believe that that woman would have seen an airship
Right.
throwing meat out. I would think. But I also got in my data.
Too.
Yeah, you'd think so. But I also got above the clouds. Okay. So whatever this was above the clouds. So it wasn't coming from like a lower level. This was something that was like really high up in the sky part. But maybe it was just covered up by the clouds. Maybe there was some cloud cover or something.
You would assume she would look up. I mean, anybody would be curious of where is this coming from.
Unless you're being pelted by meat. I don't know how long you'd be looking up.
I was gonna say, unless you were getting smacked in the face with chunks of meat. Okay. I would definitely run.
They had
for
a
cover.
big blimp, if Will's called a blimp before the Zeppelins.
She would have heard it.
That had a big capacity, like for the fairs, you know, that could take a lot of people up. Maybe they did have meat up there for them to snack on or something. And maybe it went bad and they dumped it over the side. I don't know.
Well, you think she would have
can't
heard
rule
it?
out, like we were talking before, you know, maybe it's a time slip or somebody time traveled and brought something in and dumped it. I don't know.
I don't know.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I would assume she would see it.
I would think that too. Yes. So Adolf says, "Hey Adolf, that's too much work to drop meat over the edge of a Zeppelin, an airship. I think it was an airship, like an alien craft.
That's what
And
I'm
that
getting
could
at.
be too. And so here's the thing with that too, is that we have heard, there have been whistleblowers that have come out and said that they encountered ETs. Okay, I don't know if these people are working with our military or what. Okay, I don't know. This is all hearsay. But they said that when they encountered ETs, that on a spacecraft, they had buckets of body parts, human body parts in them.
Wow.
So maybe it was a UFO dump of
I mean, we mentioned that earlier at the beginning of the show, or I think we did, that, you know, what if it was a UFO that were abducting or mutilating cows or farm animals, and they decided, well, let's just get rid of it here.
That was the leftovers.
Just dump it out. Yeah, that's 100% possibility. And and I wrote down Zeppelin because that's what I was seeing, but it could have just been like a long. That's how I was interpreting what I was seeing. Okay. But it's just like Barry says, it's food for thought, right?
Yeah.
And
but what about the bones?
The bones. There's no bones. It's just
they
meat.
wouldn't have wanted to keep the bones if that was leftovers.
Right. It would have been
we
the
don't know
bits
what
and
they were
pieces.
experimenting or what they were collecting at the time. It might have just wanted the bones for DNA or whatever was inside the marrow or whatever. So maybe the meat was discarded because they didn't think there was a use for it, and they kept the vital organs and the bones.
Wow.
Could have been.
Oh,
somebody dropped their dinner that night. They dropped their beef stew or their human
Maybe the
stew.
aliens got sick and threw up over the side.
Yeah.
So
it was a mass alien vomit event. That's what that was. Well, you know, the people who ate the meat did not really get sick, though.
No,
they probably didn't eat enough of it to get sick, but you would think that they might have gotten really sick from eating that. I mean, I would have been very hesitant to eat any kind of foreign meat like that fell from the sky.
Did you get vomit in your data?
No.
Okay, then.
I did not. No. Okay. From analyzing this data, I'm going to say this was no vulture. This is definitely not an animal that did that. It was something that came from a round, let's just say vehicle, a vessel in the sky. It didn't just come out of nowhere. It came out of something in this, a vessel that was flying or floating in the sky That's where it came from. I wrote down Zeppelin. Okay, I wrote down Zeppelin. I think that it deserves some more research potentially. Okay, the airship topic, the airship subject deserves some more research, and so I think I'm going to. I've already got my mind made up. I'm planning on doing a show on airships next week and the hidden history behind that. Because actually, as a matter of fact, next Thursday night, a week from tonight, I will be doing. I have remote viewed elements of the Tartarian Empire.
Oh,
and so we're going to be talking about that next Thursday. And I think airships are connected to that as well. Okay.
Right.
And so this is interesting how it all melds together and one topic leads into the next. So we're going to go there. Okay. Next week. We'll talk about airships more, but I mean, just think about that though. If they did have airship, what if they did have airships back then? What if that woman had never seen an airship before? She didn't know what it was. And it was like when Columbus sailed to what's the United States now, the natives that were here didn't even comprehend what they were seeing.
Right.
Because it was so foreign. What if that was the case with that woman?
Yeah, it's like every culture, you read about where explorers or conquerors come in, they think they're gods. They're coming in on these crafts or whatever, whether it's ships or whatever, and they've never seen anything like that. So they think it's their gods coming or maybe even, bad elements, eventually, because, they started slaughtering them, evidently, the conquerors did.
I think that'd be in the report. Or somebody asking her, well, did you see something? Or if she did see a blimp for the first time, I think she would have described it. And
what if it was cloaked? What if it's a time travel or an experiment?
Yeah,
and they had some kind of technology where she wouldn't see it.
Right. Wow, this is interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really interesting topic. And I mean, we don't have any solid answers for this tonight, but we do have through the data, I can say I do believe it was something that was like an airship or potentially a UFO. Okay, potentially that. Kira, hey Kira. Kira says maybe the meat. Hey Kira, maybe the meat was the fuel byproduct of an ET extraterrestrial craft taking up cattle.
Yeah.
Oh. Ooh.
No, I got that. But most cattle mutilations, they took blood and eyeballs and things like that.
Maybe they had not perfected their craft yet.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Wow.
Maybe they were just testing out the product. Oh my gosh.
McDonald's.
Yeah. Oh, I know. McDonald's is gross. I know we shouldn't. I had a bite of a burger from McDonald's. I didn't eat a whole burger, but I just had it, and I was thinking, oh, that we shouldn't be eating that probably.
No.
Yeah.
At least not on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
Just don't taste the same.
Yeah. Well, there could be there's human DNA found in some of their food.
I've
products.
heard that.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah,
but
I should have
every
admitted that.
civilization has always tried to travel. I mean, wanted to do it by wheel or car or some kind of motion or even airship. I mean, look how long everybody's dreamed about flying in the sky. And you go all the way back to Tartaria, they would have technology that would. And what is it? The old I don't know if it's Indie or Hindu, where they had the Vanties, where they said it was their time travel, their spaceship. There's all kinds of writings about this kind of stuff. So maybe there was some kind of experimental craft or from another time.
Yeah, well, that was something that I really appreciated last night or yesterday that Brian had mentioned about what we were talking about with the doppelgangers of the celebrities and how they could be cloned, or he said, well, maybe it's just like, I mean, it could be like a timeline convergence. Maybe that's why I even heard my own voice a few years ago out in the woods. Maybe it's just like timelines are crossing over and we're just kind of meeting right now, kind of like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoons. Okay. I don't know if people are familiar with that, but my son used to love those cartoons, and it got to be where every year they would change, or every couple of years they would change the style of the cartoon, of the art of the turtles, you know what I mean? Like they look different every season. And at some points they start meeting face to face. And it's like the old version with the new version and stuff. And it's like, well, what if that's what's happening right now too? I mean, I don't think that's what's happening in Hollywood. I think it's a little more sinister
I think
than
so
that.
too.
I think it's a little different. Not that they're that sinister, but with the timelines converging and stuff. But we just don't know. Bottom
That's
line,
right.
we just don't know.
That's the thing. We just have to draw the conclusions with the data and the things that we have now and try to make it fit our reality. So that doesn't necessarily means that really is what it is, because we don't know where it came from or what it is.
It could be dimensional meat, interdimensional meat. How do you know it came from here?
Well, and that's what you hear a lot is we're very low on the food chain when it comes to extraterrestrials. Okay. And reptilians and things like that, even cryptoterrestrials probably. I mean, I go out there and I go hunt down, dogmen and research Bigfoot and stuff. And I know I am very low on that food chain. I'm not the head of the food chain out there when we're doing that.
Right. I mean, everywhere humans go, we try to conquer or take over, whether it's land or whatever it is. We go out hunting animals, rabbits, squirrels, whatever, birds, deer. So why wouldn't a superior alien race come here and think nothing of us like we think of our animals that we hunt? Why we wouldn't have no significance or meaning to them, where we would just be game or something that's weird that they want to experiment on and check out.
Right. Exactly. We will see what and it's not a bad thing. Like we as humans look at ourselves as the top of the food chain everywhere we go.
Right.
And that ain't it.
Okay.
It ain't it. And I'm humble enough to admit that. Okay. I know. Because I'm out there, like I said, I'm out there chasing Bigfoot in the woods. I know they could eat me if they wanted. That's why I have a lot of respect. Okay, a healthy dose of respect. Okay, I do have some information on these airships. Actually, I forgot that I'd written something up here. Actually, I didn't write this. I typed this up because I found this information. Okay, so this is not all mine here. So since the 1850s, okay, this happened in 1876. It says since the 1850s, engineers have been experimenting with powered, lighter than air flight, essentially balloons with steering and propulsion. Like other early aeronautical experiments, the trial and error period was lengthy and hazardous. Blimps, balloons, things like that were filled with lifting gases like hydrogen or helium, intending for many uses from military and research to long-distance passenger service. The growth of the airship suffered numerous setbacks, including the famous Hindenburg disaster of 1937, and it never developed into a major mode of travel. But I don't believe that. I think it was a major mode of travel.
I think it was.
I do. It says, despite the challenges, more than 150 years later, a number of airships are still in use and development around the world as cargo carriers, military platforms, promotional vehicles, and more. Okay. We're told the airships were just like the Hindenburg. They use them in wars and stuff for a little while, and then they just went obsolete. And now we see the Goodyear blimp. Yes, because it read Ice Cube's a pimp. Okay, that's in a song, and everybody knows that. Everybody, okay, not everybody, but anyways, y'all, if you know, you know. All right, that's in a song. But we have a blimp. It comes out to, it come out to all like the Braves games, the Atlanta Braves baseball games and stuff, and you don't see them often. You don't.
Right, not anymore. Yeah.
You hardly ever see them, but they're all for promotional purposes, and they're like big billboards with lights on them and stuff. So,
well, at one time, every major country had them. I mean, they started in Germany, I believe, was where they started experimenting with them, and then every country or continent started getting them. And even the MetLife blimp or the Goodyear blimp, there was more than one of them, so they can cover east and west coasts.
Yeah. Well, okay, so there is a fantastic YouTube channel / Instagram page, whatever. This guy's all over the internet. Look up The Improbable Dreamer. Okay, he does the best research. If you go to his, I follow him on Instagram. He has a wonderful whole section on, I mean, like post on the airships. Okay,
Mm.
on airships and how we're not being told the whole truth. Like they actually had powering up stations on the tops of buildings all
Right.
over New
Wow.
York, all over, these high-rise buildings. It's like where they were taking the free, dare I say free energy
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. I mean, look at this. This is, what is that? The Empire State Building in New
Right.
York. And in those little those pointy things on the tops of some of the buildings is where they would dock. Oh my God. You know what? I actually wrote the word dock in my data.
Oh,
No, I
wow.
didn't write dock. I wrote port. Okay. That's not the same really, but it's a port. Okay. So I wrote port.
Well, a ship goes into port, so I mean, an
It
airship would
does.
be go to a port or a dock.
Wow. Very interesting, Daryl.
Hmm.
Yes.
Hmm.
Okay. But there are pictures. You can find pictures. I could not find any online today. Of course, there are certain things that I look up. I go to all the different search engines and I know there's information there. I know it was just there and it's all gone. Okay. There's things that are being censored hard
Mhm.
right now. Heavy. Let's see. Heavy censoring is going on right now for whatever reason. And so I was looking for pictures of all these blimps or airships docked on these high-rise buildings back in the early 1900s. And we're talking about like 1902, 1903,
Wow.
some of the 1800s. I couldn't find a whole lot of pictures today. Okay. But go to the Improbable Dreamer. I'm going to give that guy credit. He does some great research and he's got lots of pictures and stuff and he makes videos about it. I
And we
think,
talk
I think
about
that,
we talk about Tartaria all the time, and
Mhm.
they, supposedly they had free energy, and the Egyptian pyramids, supposedly there's talk about that generating energy, and that's what they were for. So Tesla had to get that technology from somewhere, whether it came from that or the Akashic record, or however he got it, and he was experimenting with free energy. And they say that all our cathedrals and temples were not only for our healing, our body, but for physical healing from the sounds. And then we got free energy, almost like to generate for med beds or to heal you. And all the crosses and all the steeples were there to collect the free energy. If you look at
Right.
all the Tartaria buildings that we find, there's always an antenna or something sticking out of the top, like it was going to generate or collect energy.
I keep thinking this is Tartaria or something like that also, because my grandmother was born early, I think it's 1902, early 1900s. She would tell us stories of moving from one state going out to New Mexico in a covered wagon. So you telling me they have these wonderful blimps and this and that up there when they're still in covered wagons down here on the earth? So that right there doesn't make sense. They had to
yeah.
have gotten this from a past history.
Yes, okay, that is the conundrum that we're in.
Mhm.
Okay, because when I had Jesus Payan on my show last year, and he's the one that opened my eyes up to a lot of this stuff with the timeline deception as well,
Mhm.
because there was a lot of horse and buggy action going on. That's what we were always taught. What we're
Mhm.
told, a lot of people were using horses and buggies and carriages. Hey, this week they've been using horses and mules and buggies to get supplies up to the people who were hit by the hurricane and the flooding
Mm.
up in North
Wow.
Carolina. So like we're kind of having to go back to primitive living like that
Right.
because of the floods that happened here on the East Coast
Hmm.
just this weekend. Okay, last weekend. Um, and so just think about how before, oh gosh, I'm making a connection here. Okay, so
Mhm.
before Friday, there was a very technologically advanced community, a bunch of communities up there. Today,
Right.
they are wiped out. They have no power. They have no roads. They have nothing.
No
A
toilets,
lot of lives
nothing.
were lost.
Mhm.
It was a mudslide too, right? Mud
Right.
flood happened up there, and now they have to. The way they can get up there, well, they can either use helicopters or they can use horses and buggies and carriages now. Okay,
Hmm.
that's what they're using right now. So
Yeah.
let's just make that connection. Let's just think about that for a
Mhm.
minute because um, these world's fairs, right? Those were back in the late 1800s, early 1900s. We're told like it was very primitive living back then. Yet we had
Right.
all these magnificent buildings
Right.
that were there. you know, like
Beautiful building.
Roman architecture, Greek
They said they built
architecture.
them fast too.
Yeah, I know, right?
So
Yeah.
were these
Like primitive
world
people.
fairs and cities considered their version of a smart city like they're trying to build now?
Oh.
Yeah. I'm telling you, the rabbit hole is deep.
Oh.
It's deep over here. And but it takes us talking about these subjects to kind of start linking them all together and to see,
Right.
well, they had all this advanced technology and architecture and stuff, but yet we're told that there were, you know, maybe a handful, a couple hundred, a few hundred people living in some of these major cities where these gigantic buildings were already there, living like pioneers and stuff. I don't know. It's just a lot to think about. But when we're talking about the meat shower, okay, we'll go back to the meat shower. I think that there was something in the sky that dropped the meat. Now, maybe they were, you got to think like those airships, the blimps, they had the inside of them. If you look at the pictures of them, which I could not find to pull up today for the show, I'll do that next week. It had full compartments on the inside of the balloon looking part. Okay. Like, sitting areas, bedrooms,
Right.
places for everybody to relax and have entertainment and stuff. And they had the basket underneath it as well, right? Like where you could go sit, kind of like a bus.
It depends on what time frame you're talking about. Like when the blimps compared to like a hot air balloon just had a square basket, but then the blimp started getting longer, elongated to match the profile of the blimp. And then the Zeppelin, you know, like the Hindenburg actually was like a almost like a Titanic or a Pullman railroad car aspect to it, where they had, like you said, they had a kitchen, they had servants, they had, you know, everything crystal. And I mean, it was just an amazing thing. They put a lot of money into it and a lot of luxury.
Yeah, it was like a 5-star resort up there.
Maybe the cook threw out stuff.
Yeah. They had, it was like a restaurant and everything, I'm sure. I mean, there's just a lot that we don't really know about it, I guess. And I'm not super familiar. I'm going to do a lot of research on this before next week, though. And I do plan to do a show maybe on that as part of the Hidden History series, I guess. I haven't done one of those in a while. But, I mean, who's to say that, like, they didn't have a bunch of meat, like they had a restaurant up there or something.
Right.
They're like, oh, we don't need this, or maybe something fell out the window or something. I mean, but that would still be a lot of meat that fell out of the window of a Zeppelin or an airship.
I mean, I would think airship, you know, better, maybe UFO. I mean, there's like 3 possible avenues. Like we said, we talked about the buzzards. I don't really buy that necessarily, but it could have happened. But with your data, I'm thinking the airship or some kind of UFO.
Right.
I mean,
that's what I'm guessing. Airship or UFO.
Yes. Corey, hey, Corey. He says there's photos of San Francisco being dug out of the mud. Yeah.
All kinds of pictures of finding cities underneath.
Yeah. I believe that was a reset. Okay. And I think that unfortunately we've had a lot of resets, and I think we may be in the process of another one right now.
Yeah. I've been hearing that.
Or everybody talks about a great event coming up, whether it's us changing our dimension or Earth's going through a dimension, or maybe it's just a reset of civilization. Maybe they're, you know, we think of the mud flood like it wiped out everything all at once. Well, maybe it's just sections or regionals pushing us towards the big cities to get rid of us off the land again. I mean, maybe that's the reset, pushing us into smart cities or big communities.
Yeah, could be. This is for entertainment purposes only. Okay.
Amen.
We always have to state that it's just for entertainment purposes only. Yeah. Andrew says Tartarian meat, the Tartarian meat. Okay. There's a lot of meat jokes in here tonight, I'm sure. I haven't been able to follow the chat like I usually do. I've been kind of busy talking and stuff, but a lot of meat jokes tonight. I know. I totally get it. I saw you, LIB. I saw you.
I didn't see any report where it said it tasted like chicken. That's usually what everybody that's their go-to. It would taste like chicken.
Either that or they collected all of it, and that's the invention of hot dogs. Just saying.
Oh.
Ew. Oh, that's
Leftovers.
gross.
The beginning
Yeah.
of spam.
I just had, okay, this is going to sound gross, but I just had some spam for breakfast. I love spam. Listen, I'm a country girl who grew up on potted meat and stuff. I know it's disgusting, right?
My mom
I'm
and
sure,
dad love spam.
hey, David. I love spam. I think it's great as long as you cook it and it's crispy on the outside. I think it's a delicacy in my book. Okay.
No different than a
I'll eat
fried bologna
anything.
sandwich. I mean, you fry up a good
I
chunk of
like
bologna.
bologna
People like
too.
fried bologna. Yeah.
Hey, I like bologna too. Listen, I will pretty much eat anything, but not foreign meat that fell out of the sky. Okay, I have to draw the line somewhere. All right, the
How
line
do
is
you how do
drawn.
you know that your spam wasn't falling from the air and
Oh,
collected
dude,
somewhere?
Oh,
Carol,
Carol.
don't, Carol, you just ruined it. That's true though. We don't know where our meat's coming from. I mean,
Maybe
listen, we've
maybe
been
it's
told that
Soylent Green's already here. How do we know?
Soylent Green. It's
Oh,
people. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, this conversation could go dark quick. Like it could go bad.
Yeah, we
Um,
better go back to the light side.
Yeah, no, but we need to talk about it too.
Yeah, I
We
know.
have to talk about it because that is actually one of the routes. This is one of the options. It could be human meat for sure,
right.
100%. Okay, we're going down
Well,
a
and she
rabbit portal.
was worried that it was her son and her husband that was scattered all over
Yep.
the field. Whatever
Right.
kind of accident. I mean, maybe they were using dynamite to take out tree stumps or something, and maybe she thought they got blown up. I don't know.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Barry has a good point. Praveen Mohan has shown in ancient Indian temples there are carvings of cars and several modern devices.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, there's a helicopter on an ancient Egyptian hieroglyph, right? Like some art on the
Right.
wall, like helicopters. The Aztecs even had like a guy riding a spaceship or something.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, you got astronauts and rockets and helicopters and tanks and all kinds of weapons of war on there. And so we're supposed to believe that they didn't have technology, but
Right.
yet they're putting those images on their temples and in their hieroglyphs and all their writings.
They want us to believe that we went through medieval time and cowboy and Indian time with covered wagons and stuff, and none of this technology.
Oh my
There's hidden
gosh.
history, definitely.
It's
There's got to be.
it's not, yeah, it is not what we've been told at
Right.
all. I think it's like our history books. Okay, I know I always make this reference. Like my son probably gets in trouble for this a lot, and I know this year, thank goodness, his teachers love his inquisitive mind and how he questions everything they say. They don't care; they think it's great. Okay, other teachers in the past have not appreciated that at all.
Go Ben.
But now they're cool. His teachers are cool with it. But I talk to my son about stuff like this because this is not anything that we're going to learn in a school book. And a matter of fact, last Saturday I had my good friend Tom Springer on the show. He has a podcast and a YouTube channel called Stuff I Never Learned from a School Book.
That was a great show.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. We can't depend on our school books and stuff to teach us the real stuff here. And Corey Cole, wow, that is a really interesting comment there. He says, I used to have a photo of a raffle ticket from the World Fair for a free baby.
Ew.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. They had the incubator babies there. That was, you could pay, I don't know how much it cost. You could pay like 10 cents or something to go see all the incubator babies. Now, where are all those babies coming from?
Yeah.
Why do they need all those babies? Because the way it was kind of presented was like, well, there's a bunch of motherless children here, hundreds, thousands of them. They need homes. Come get your free baby.
And we don't know if we're talking about time travel dimensions. We don't know if they're coming into our dimension, our timeline right now and stealing our children and women or whatever. We think it is human trafficking. Maybe they're coming in and taking them back to the dimension to feed their people or process them there. We don't know. And maybe it got dropped off over that woman's farm by accident somehow.
Could be. Yeah, I remember doing that remote viewing target. It turned out to be old Green Eyes. I gotta bring that up all the time. My data suggested that he was like an intergalactic, some kind of time, body parts trader. It was like an
Oh,
entity
wow.
that did like body parts trading. And I've actually heard that since then, that there are ETs that do like intergalactic body part trading. It might even be in some of those Marvel movies and stuff. I don't know, some kind of movie, Star Wars. I don't know.
Talk about a black meat market.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
Red meat market.
Red meat
The other,
market.
the
We don't
other
know.
white.
Maybe that's how their medical field works in the future, or a different timeline, that, you know, they lose an arm, they come back here and they scavenge an arm off of us and take it back there, and that's their implant or their solution.
Yeah. Blanche LeBlanc says, my grandfather was born in 1900, came by orphan train in 1907 to Opelousas, Louisiana.
Wow. There you go.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my.
Wow. Oh my gosh. You know, my buddy Mark, I met him at the Squatch Out in East Tennessee. He's with his I think he's got a YouTube channel. It's called CSI. He's a Bigfooter too, just like me. But he had contacted me a while back when we were talking about the orphan trains. He sent me a message saying that his grandfather actually was adopted. I guess he came off of an orphan train as well. Okay, so yeah.
Well, there's a lot of families, you know, that adopt children, but they never ever tell anybody or never act like they're adopted or just part of the family. So you don't know exactly in your history of your family who was adopted and who wasn't, because they didn't really say it. They just adopted them and they were part of the family.
Yes. Yeah.
They could have purchased the child. You never know.
They could have. And, you know, this could take us down the whole avenue of the Cabbage Patch, the homunculus, the artificial humans. And they just came out with an article recently. I don't know if it was this week or just recent, of synthetic embryos. Okay. That's in the news right now. I don't know if it was Popular Science. I forgot what article it was. I don't have it in front of me right now. It might have been out of the UK. I think it was out of the UK. They actually reported on it in the UK. I know that. I saw the news report. But they said that synthetic embryos are being made now. And that means that a human, and I'm going to say human with air quotes again, human is being made without a sperm or an egg.
Oh, so I did hear that the other day. Yes, that they can create without mother and father. Yeah, okay. I heard the same thing.
So is that really a human? What do y'all think?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, technically, I guess it would be a human if you count the DNA or the stem cells, but it's not a human as far as we know the term of a human or accepted term.
A thing.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Well, it's just something to think about. Okay. It's definitely something to think about. And yeah. Okay. Ace Banner. Hey, Ace. He has a interesting question for me. He says, could the ship be dropping meat from the sky? Could be a ship dropping meat from the sky. Could it be bringing dogmen into the areas where the meat was found? I don't know that. Who knows, man? I don't know. At this point, could be. Who knows?
Who knows?
Maybe that's
how they feed their animals. You know, if dogman or whatever cryptids were their soldiers or animals, maybe that's how they feed it, just by a massive airdrop.
That's actually not a terrible idea there. I think that, yeah. Who knows? I mean,
we airdrop food and supplies off to our troops or whatever out in the field, just like they're doing now in the southern states that are affected. The helicopters and military or whatever are dropping off. Entertainment.
This is for entertainment purposes only. Thank you, Maureen. It is. Yeah. Hey,
you might have to stop saying food for thought also.
Yeah, that's Barry. Barry says food for thought. This is just a lot of food for thought tonight, for sure. And we, like I said, we don't have all the answers, but a lot of this stuff is really connecting. A lot of the topics that we've been talking about, a lot of the shows that I'm doing, I'm kind of like interconnecting everything now. Okay, so like now we've talked about the airships that came up in the data with the Zeppelin. I'm going to talk about airships next week. Okay, and then we're going to go talk about the Tartarian Empire. We're going to talk about that, including the giants and everything.
Right.
Hidden history. Okay, we have a lot of hidden history that we really need to start digging into, and notice what's going on around us right now, and with the flooding, uh,
Mm-hmm.
people having to be dug out of the mud in North Carolina and in Tennessee, towns going from being technologically advanced to being completely primitive with nothing there. Some towns completely wiped out, people wiped out, populations wiped out. As a matter of fact, my friend Christy, who does the Appalachian Starseed reunions and the Camp Disclosure, she lives up in. I've spoken at her event before her events. She lives in Asheville, North Carolina, and she's actually putting out more information than you're going to hear in the news, and the devastation and the damage and the people that are missing there is way worse than what is being reported in the news. There's not 190 people that are missing. It's like thousands of people. Okay, we're talking about thousands, maybe 12,000 or something. I mean, it was a lot of people that are missing, and people are being found in the mud. You know, I have first responder friends. Some of the guys that are on my Bigfoot research team a lot of them are our first responders, by the way. And they're getting a report.
I mean, they say it's going to take over a year, obviously. And there's places now from hurricanes that haven't totally recovered from ones 5 years ago or whatever. I mean, you just never totally get everything back the way it was. And the sad thing is there's like 8 or 9 hurricanes out there now waiting. We're waiting to see what path it's going to take. And God forbid it doesn't come back into the same area.
Right.
I know. We've got another one to brace for apparently coming up here pretty soon.
I heard that.
I don't think there's something wrong. Okay. And actually somebody, I forgot, one of my friends on Facebook had said, hey, let's collectively work to change the course of this. You know, even though it's probably, I'm just going to say man-made. Okay. That's for entertainment purposes only. I'm not saying the whole thing is man-made, but the directions of these things could be changed. There's technology for that.
Right.
And they're directing these to places.
Okay.
Well, I remember listening to Art Bell, and he had the audience concentrate on moving a storm away from a certain area. And I was listening to it that night, and it changed its path.
I've done it with storms.
This is a call to action.
Yeah, we need to pray.
Yeah. Let's I think that there's a mass meditation in order. Everybody who's listening, everybody who knows, let's start switching all this stuff up. Two can play at this game. Okay, right? We can all, if there's something you can do, visualize it. Okay, visualize it. If we can dream it, we can bring it into reality, manifest it. Instead of all the death and destruction that's being I'm going to say they, because I don't know who they are, but let's just say they're wanting us to manifest more darkness and more destruction. I'm not doing that. Okay. Let's manifest things getting better. Okay. And these storms going and slowing down and not getting the traction. And maybe those machines malfunctioning or something. Okay. They're trying to set them up to do more destruction. Okay. If that's the case, for entertainment purposes only.
If we use our abilities or our thoughts, we're all awake. If we get like-minded people and become a collective consciousness, like pushing these storms away from us, we could literally put a barrier around the whole U.S. where they couldn't come in at all.
Yeah, that's right. Kiri, that's right. People did go there. I know people who left Florida to get away from the hurricane and went into Asheville. And that's what the people who got hit the worst were there. So people, they always say head for the mountains, when something happens. But in this case, that's where the most destruction happened. So, So Marian says, let's pray every night around 9 p.m. your time zone. So if we do it, everybody's in a different time zone. So around 9 p.m. throughout the country, prayer warriors unite. Okay. And
there you go.
That's a good idea. We'll do that. Let's pray every night at 9 p.m. your time zone. Okay. If you guys want to participate in that would be awesome. Because we do need to come together. Okay. We got to come together at this point.
Right.
because
let's say
nobody
9
gonna come
p.m.
help us.
Eastern, and then you change it to whatever your time zone is. So everybody's doing the thoughts and the prayers and everything at the same time.
9 p.m. Eastern.
So whatever
Okay.
that calculates out to your time zone that you're at, whoever's listening, whoever sees this,
Mhm.
start doing the good intentions and the protection of our areas at 9 p.m. Eastern.
So 8 Central, 7 Mountain, 6 Pacific. Okay. Stop what you're doing and say a
And
little
have no
prayer.
fear. Stay away from fear.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
keep thinking, I don't want to get religious, but greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. Do not fear man. Just have faith, keep your vibrations high, and stay away from fear. And let's pray really hard. Yeah, let's unite.
Yes. Yes. Weirdos unite. No, I'm just kidding. We're not all weirdos. Love it, though.
Weirdos unite.
I know. Yeah. Well, we're all gonna get through this all together. Okay.
Mhm.
We're gonna get through it, and we're just kind of uncovering some things. I think we've established that things are not what they seem.
Mhm.
There's a lot of manipulation going on, a lot of mass mind control and stuff, and we got to come to the realization it's a harsh reality that we have to take care of ourselves and each other because we can't depend on Big Brother to do it for us. Okay.
Right.
And so let's all be positive. And oh my gosh, I wanted to thank. I mean, I was going to see if we have any final thoughts today because this has been a fantastic show.
It has been
By the way,
great.
yes, it has been so fun. And I wanted to, before that, let me well, I got it up here. I wanted to thank, I have 2 new channel members tonight. Super Cyan Yet. Hey, what's up, buddy? Thank you for being a member tonight, for becoming a member today. That is so sweet of you. I appreciate that. You're also a Patreon member too, so thank you. And I hope you had a great birthday, by the way. And Urso, thank you for becoming a YouTube member. That is sweet. I really appreciate that, Urso. You're the best. And Kira. Oop, let me pull this back up.
Yep.
Kira, thank you for the super sticker, sweetie. That is so sweet of you. My star sister over there on the West Coast. Thank you, Kira. Okay, well, we've had wonderful comments in the chat tonight. Everybody has been super amazing in the chat, and my moderators have been kicking butt. You guys are both my moderators too, and I'm your moderator too. So do y'all have any final thoughts tonight, Gerald and Jane, on the meat shower of 1876 and any other thoughts?
I think we covered it a lot. I think your data was right on as far as like airships or UFO or something from above. I mean, it kind of fits the narrative. We won't know. I mean, we're just making a guess or a speculation on what your data is and what everybody else's story is from that time. But I think you're right on, and I'm leading towards an airship or a UFO or some kind of time travel or something going on. That's kind of like we were speculating.
Yeah, I agree also. I just wish I knew we were going to be on your show before I put a roast in our crock pot. What are we having after the show?
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. It was last minute. I know.
Well,
I was like, wait, I gotta get my power washing friends
know
over
what
here.
it is, so I think it's beef.
I hope.
Oh my gosh, I know. Well, just don't think about it, okay? Just meat.
I'm always picking it up and like, I don't know.
Yeah, thanks, Jessica.
I will not be putting a pork roast in the crock pot tomorrow myself. Okay. I know it's what is that? I like to make a Mississippi roast sometime, and a lot of times it'll have some fat in it. I like to eat fat and stuff, but now doing this, I'm not so sure I want to eat the fat anymore. It just sounds kind of gross. Okay. Yeah.
That's where all the flavor comes from.
Yeah, the flavor, exactly. See, I did disclose earlier that I eat a lot of weird meat and stuff. Okay, so I know I probably shouldn't have been saying that on air. I'll eat. My dad used to feed me the grossest stuff when I was a kid, and I used to love it. Okay, today it's kind of, people probably think it's gross. I used to eat like chitlins and stuff when I was a kid too.
Oh yeah, cow brains.
I don't know what those are.
They ate everything.
Yeah, we ate everything. Well, my dad told me they were French fries. And so he would go get them at the church beside where he had his place of business and bring them home and put them on a paper bag like you get at the grocery store with ketchup. And I just eat them. I'd eat away. And they're so good. And I know my mom was probably wanting to throw up watching me eat those. But, it is what it
My
is.
parents
I'm
were
not
all,
picky.
all from the farms, you know, and they grew up, you know, in the 1940s, 1930s, into the 1930s. So they grew up on a farm where they ate everything off of the pig or the cow or whatever. They butchered it. They had the tongue. I mean, everything. I don't know how many times we went to the grocery store and mom was looking for cow tongue.
Oh,
Ew.
well,
Yeah,
my
I don't know
grandma
about
was
the cow
on the
tongue.
farm. She made fresh pork rinds, you know, just fried them up. And they
Yeah,
did everything.
I love pork rinds. That's like one of
Crackle.
my favorites. Yeah, anything like that. But yeah. So, anyways, we won't get in too far down the rabbit hole on like kind of weird meats to eat, okay? Because I pretty much tried everything. I used to eat chicken hearts when I was. I know it's kind of gross, but
Chicken hearts and chicken livers. Oh, those are my favorite. Yeah, I
yeah,
loved them when I was a kid.
You know what would be a
skewered on
good
the grill.
show would be if we're talking about the future and a reset. What's our future food going to be? What's it
Not
going to
Rocky
be?
They
Mountain
already
oyster.
said crickets, bugs.
Crickets.
No,
I
I'm
bet we
not
get
eating
beyond
bugs.
that. It's got to be
Yeah.
something weird.
Ugh.
I don't. Hopefully not Soylent Green. Okay, I know that's where we're headed. That's where they're trying to. That's the timeline they want us on, but that's not the timeline I'm going on. Okay, I'm going to stick with my Vienna sausages.
Vienna sausages.
I'm just kidding. They're Vienna. I know. I've already gotten enough. I've caught enough hell from that since college. Okay. But anyways, yeah, and I don't eat those anymore, by the way. They're kind of gross now. But when I was a kid, I liked them. Okay.
Yep.
But
Chicken
but
finger.
yeah, chicken fingers and tater logs. Yes.
Yep.
LIB, Long Island Bigfoot, gives me a hard time about that because I love chicken fingers and tater logs. Down here in the South, we're a whole different breed. Okay.
And the grits.
Yeah,
Don't forget the
grits.
grits.
I love cheese grits with sugar on them. That's my thing.
Oh,
Okay.
there you go.
And bacon. But now I don't know. I'm going to look at bacon different now too. Okay. I'll definitely look at bacon now. A little bit different. But yeah, I think this has been a fantastic target. Thank y'all so much for being here with me today.
Oh, thanks for
Thank you
having us.
asking. Anytime.
Absolutely. Y'all come back and see me and tell the audience what where they can find you and when you have shows on your YouTube channel and all that. Give us a slowdown.
Well, Sunday nights we were doing 6 p.m., but we're kind of switching it up to 4 p.m. if our guests can come on earlier at 4 p.m. now, while till we get to daylight savings time. We're kind of playing around with the time, but we're on Sunday evenings, and now we've added Tuesdays for guests that can't make it, or we don't want them to wait, you know, during because sometimes we're 2 months out that we have guests, so we bring in people that we find earlier, and we have Barry coming on this Sunday.
Yep.
Barry Littleton's going to be on this Sunday with us on Piercing the Veil. And we have you coming up in the near future too, Jessica.
Yep, you're coming up too.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, in like 2 weeks, I think I'll be there. Yeah, there's Barry. Barry's been in the chat this whole time. What's up, Barry? Barry's here. Yeah. Oh, and Long Island Bigfoot said Vienna. And I say Vienna. Yes, I say Vienna. Okay. Vienna sausages are standard issue in the Army. That's why my son likes them, I guess. Yeah. Yeah.
So in case I didn't say it, we're on YouTube and Rumble, and we're uploading our videos and audio up to Spotify and other podcast channels now too. So you can pretty much find us anywhere, but YouTube is our live channel, and we kind of put it out everywhere else after that.
Oh, awesome. You guys are worldwide, man, all over the place. And that's everybody's talking about the nasty stuff they eat. I'm not saying nasty. To me, it's kind of Vienna sausages. Yeah, they're not that great. Okay. But chicken feet. Ooh, I don't know about that. I had chicken heart. So
yeah, pig knuckles, pig feet.
Pickled pig's feet. My dad always had a jar of those on our kitchen counter when I was a kid. Yeah, that's how country I am. Okay. And hot mama sausages or big mama sausages.
Hot mama sausages?
Yes. Pickled eggs too.
Yeah,
okay.
Pickled eggs.
Y'all want to get a good dose of country, y'all go to my dad's house. Okay. Or to my house too.
All right. I have to go back to that way of living.
Yeah, that's probably what we're going to need to start
Mhm.
doing, with the pickling foods and pickling meats too. You can actually pickle meats, like put it in vinegar and stuff. It'll last forever, just like that piece of meat that we
Hmm.
showed earlier today. Let's see.
Right. I mean, that's
Let me
that's
pull that back up.
eventually what I mean. It'd be healthier for us if we processed our own food and went back to gardens and hunting our own animals and processing our own food, and that
Right.
way we know where it came from anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's very true. Let me try to take that down. Yeah, it'd be a lot healthier. Be a lot healthier. Okay, so you guys, please go subscribe to Midwest Night Watchers on YouTube. Follow them on Rumble as well. And Jane, you also have your own channel as well with your music. Do you want to tell the
Yes.
audience about it?
Yeah, I just play well, you can see behind me, I've got a wide variety of instruments that I love to play. I got tongue drums, handpan, Native American flutes. I got gongs, singing bowls. And here recently, I've been focusing on my channel and I have been uploading some new videos. And I just did a handpan video this afternoon. So there is a brand new video that I just uploaded this afternoon.
Yep. And
Awesome.
not only Jane's videos, but we also got our orbs and skyfish and whatever we catch in the sky and our critters in the yard, whatever they end up being, deer, rabbits, whatever. So those are on our 24/7 live videos, and we upload those to our channel too. And if you go to our live section, you see all the guests, including Jessica and Barry and everybody. And so we have a big line of videos that they can watch if they'd like to go to our channel and watch our past interviews or our ones coming up.
And if they click on videos, we do have possibly UFO. I don't know what the Big Dipper activity is, but there is thousands of things moving underneath the Dipper for a few weeks this summer. So there's those videos. We've got orb videos, skyfish, rods. We just got all kinds of strange things on our channel if you just click on video.
Those sound like that would be a good remote viewing target. Okay, whatever's going on at that Big Dipper.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Because I mean, this is the third summer that this has happened. And it always started like the second week of August and it lasts like around 6 weeks. And sure enough, I mean, I caught it again this year. So I didn't upload a bunch of them, but I uploaded enough to let people know, like, watch the north skies. If you can see the Big Dipper. And it only happened for like an hour or so at night why only an hour? So yeah, that's just a very interesting activity. We don't know. To me, I think it's a portal. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of. So
Yeah.
why would it happen for only 6, 7 weeks and only for an hour every night? But it definitely was not satellites. It wasn't Elon Musk. I mean, these things are going all different directions.
And we're going to be on an Andy Decode's show tomorrow, and we're going to be showing our orbs and skyfish and our Big Dipper videos and talking about that tomorrow.
Oh, sweet. I love me some Andy, man. That's a great show. I'll be sure to try to tune into that. I've got some things going on this weekend. So I'm going to be probably out in the field a little bit this
Cool.
weekend. Yes, if I'm feeling better, that is. I've been kind of under the weather for the past week now or so. But yeah, nothing makes you feel better more than like getting out in the woods though. So I think it'd be good therapy. So we'll see.
That fresh air.
Yeah, for
good
sure.
cleansing and grounding for you to get out there and
Recharging, baby. I'm gonna go recharge my battery for sure.
We all need that.
We do. I highly recommend it to everybody who's listening and everybody who's watching. Get out in the woods, y'all. Okay, just be careful. Watch your six. And Kathleen Michael, thank you so much for that super sticker. That's so sweet of you. It means the world to me. I get your support like that. And to everybody else who's given super stickers tonight, and my new channel members and everything, y'all are the best. I really do appreciate it very much. And please go subscribe to Chiro Sounds on YouTube and Midwest Night Watchers on YouTube. Go tune into all their shows, y'all, and to Rumble. Go find me on Rumble too. I have a Rumble channel, and I've pretty much put all the videos. It's mostly up to date now over there on Rumble, just in case anything were to ever happen over here on the YouTube. I have backup.
Yeah,
okay,
that's what we're doing.
Oh,
if
yeah.
they ever want to get a hold of us, they can just do midwestnightwatchers@gmail.com. If anybody wants to write us or tell us anything, tell us your stories. If you have experiences or if you have an idea for a show, drop us a line. Let us know.
Yes. Okay. Perfect. And yeah, everybody have a wonderful wonderful weekend this weekend. I will be back Saturday night. I am planning to have a show Saturday night. We're going to go on the hunt. So I will stay tuned. I'll let you know the details of that before Saturday night. I want to thank all my moderators, all my channel members, all my Patreon members. Thank you guys for hanging in here with us tonight. We had a really fun discussion. I hope I didn't gross everybody out too bad. Y'all go eat your pork roast and your rump roast now. Okay.
Yeah.
Jane.
Well, then
Jane
we're
and
going to
Gary,
watch
y'all
the
have
Northern
fun with
Lights.
that.
We've got chances of Northern Lights the next, what did you say, Gary? The next 3 nights, there might be a chance of Northern Lights?
Yeah, we had a solar flare that came in, and so the next 3 nights we have chances of Northern Lights, and then Sundays when the big flare, I think it was a 9,
It
an
was a 9,
X9,
I think, yeah. So
is going to
everyone
hit.
go
So
outside.
it could cause internet, radio interference, but it's supposed to bring the Northern Lights way down, even possibly into the south by this weekend.
Wow. So everyone go outside and check the Northern Lights. It might be happening the next few nights.
Oh man, that's amazing. I have to look up to the skies. Maybe it'll come down to Georgia. Who knows?
Well, with
Maybe.
that 9, it might. Yeah. There's a big flare that's coming our way.
Awesome. Okay, Andrew, I will kiss Dogman for you. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll just for you. And if something happens, it's all your fault. Okay, I'm
I
just
love
kidding. All right. Well, y'all have a wonderful night. You guys come back and see me on Saturday. Y'all go check out Midwest Night Watchers over there on their channel. And thank you guys so much for all your support. Look to the skies, man. Y'all always keep your eyes to the skies. Watch for falling meat. Okay.
That's right. Keep looking up.
And keep your vibrations high.
And keep your vibrations high. All right, everybody. Y'all have a wonderful night, and I'll see y'all on Saturday. Bye,
Love
y'all.
and peace, everybody.